My name is Ric Conn, and I am an artist. I got started in this profession when I was 5. My parents had been giving me coloring books up to that point, but they were easy for me, and I was very, very bored with them. I used to deliberately screw up the images, and so I got to this one of a boy reaching for an apple, and I knew better than what everybody always said, that apples are red. So, but we had a raw bowl of fruit on our dining room table, and I took an apple out of that so I could paint from life. And then I just matched the colors of the apple on the page before mine and painted the apple, and it just happened coincidentally to be in a shaft of light, and I got to see the shadows on the apple and behind the apple. And then when I decided to use my arm as the model for the boy's arm in the book. So I put my arm out there, and I could see where the shadows and the highlights and all were. And I just really, it just exploded in me, and I threw the coloring book down, and I started painting from life. I painted my arm and the apple. I went and got every piece of fruit out of the bowl. I went in the refrigerator and got mayonnaise, mustard, ketchup, all those different bottles that had shapes. Put them all one at a time in that light so I could draw them and then shade them. And then my mother came in and wanted to know what in the world I was doing, and I told her, I said, this is what I'm doing, and I am going to be an artist when I grow up. And then all I heard was, yes, dear. But she came to believe it because it was true. And by the time I got to be a teenager, and I'm still saying that, that's when she started to fight me on it, because she didn't want me to be an artist. But she lost. And I've been doing it ever since. Along the way, I did some, I worked in printing for a while. I worked as a graphic artist for a while. And all the while, I was doing my own personal paintings at night and on the weekends, part-time. So I was a part-time fine artist and a full-time, so I just decided I wanted out, and I quit, and I became a full-time artist, and I haven't regretted it since, and that's what I am to this day. I went to college and studied multimedia technology because that was the only course that offered painting and drawing. So I got a degree in that, and I've studied at art school. I studied at Corcoran College of Art. I studied at Maryland Institute College of Art. I didn't get a degree. I didn't go there for a degree. I went there just for the education, and I only took the classes that would benefit my work. So I consider myself to be basically self-taught. I've learned from other artists. I've learned from people that I consider mentors, like Pablo Picasso, Ernst Kirchner, Matisse. These are all artists that I know they're not here anymore, but their body of work is such that I've learned an awful lot from that. Alice Neal, who just only died like about 20 years ago, she's a big inspiration because I really liked her work. So those are my inspirations, and that's where my real education came from. My big break really came, I've been painting for years and doing the figure work, because I started out doing landscape and abstract, and I changed and decided I wanted to be a figure painter because that's where my real love was. But the big break for me, I would say, is Art Tour International. When they asked me to be in a show several years ago now, and I decided to do it, it was the best decision I ever made. I'm still with them, and I actually have a solo show up there right now. It's been a great organization. It's great for me. It's been really good for me. So I'd have to say that is the biggest break, is getting to know them. I've received several awards from Art Tour, and after each one, being in their magazine and people seeing my work, I began to get noticed. I began to get emails and communication. People are, from various galleries around the world are inviting me to participate in their stuff. I haven't actually had to compete to get in the show for 3 years. I'm invited in, and which I like that. So right now besides Art Tour, I'm in a gallery in Milan, Italy. That's also been very good for me, and I've been headhunted, you might say, for galleries in Budapest and Germany and Tokyo, Spain, Barcelona, and even Brazil. I've been all around the world without leaving my house. It's a nice feeling. I certainly can't afford to go to every one of these, but it gives me choices. And it gives me choices in places that appreciate art. And so, every choice that I've made, when I went to Milan, I went to Budapest, every choice that I've made has been a good one. And so they've all ended up in more people from those areas being interested in my work, interested in getting me to be in their show, that sort of thing. So it's been very instrumental. All of my paintings have a social significance. And I don't know whether every country is becoming sensitive to women's issues, or they just like the idea of something social being said, but they all seem to like my work. And I'm sure none of them have told me, but I'm sure that it's because of the work. They either like the subjects or they think that their viewers are going to like these subjects. You put paintings on your wall about women and the women come in, they're going to look at them, It might be that, but either way it's the work, it's not me. The two artists who I feel inspired me the most would be Pablo Picasso and Alice Neel. Alice Neel, her paintings are a lot like mine. Picasso, some of his are like mine, but it's mostly, their techniques. I've gotten a lot of inspiration from their techniques, but also their lifestyle, the way they live. They lived for their art, and that I can really appreciate. Picasso, he was his art, and everything he did, there was a piece of him in it, and I can learn from his portraits, and even though his stuff is very surreal and not, very weird sometimes, there's inspiration in his weirdness. Nothing that he did was arbitrary or accidental. He put something somewhere because he wanted it there specifically. Alice Neel too, she was uncompromising in her portraits. She painted people the way she saw them. Most of the ones I've seen are very unflattering, but the people loved them because it was truth, it was her. And those are the things I learned from. I can learn technique from them. I don't want to learn technique from anybody else. I want to have my own technique, So I don't study technique. What I study mostly is just the psychology of the artist. My wife gives me feedback, good feedback, on my paintings. I'll sometimes ask her what she thinks, and I take her opinions to heart and usually end up changing something. Sometimes I'll ask her, excuse me, what she thinks the title should be, if I'm stuck on a title. And she'll give me her opinion, and then I'll take that, and I probably may or may not use it, but it will at least push me in the right direction to come up with an appropriate title for myself. The other night, she gave me an idea for a painting. Marilyn's new suicide prevention hotline just went up, and she suggested I do something, so I'm going to do a painting, a suicide prevention painting with the 988 number in it. And that was her. I had no idea about this number. And she read it, and because I don't read the papers, she does. So, this painting here, this red one, is going to be that. I want my legacy to be my work, or at least the philosophy of the work, not the paintings themselves, but the reason for them. And the paintings will get you there. But I want to bring about awareness for gender equality, for female empowerment. That is the whole thing about my work. Although not entirely, I also do psychological painting. Because I started out doing mental health paintings before I did this, working series, mental health series, and then I started doing this series. Now I'm doing both. I still do some mental health paintings when they come up in my head, because that's just an important issue too. I want my legacy to be an awareness of these issues. I'm not trying to be parochial about this. If another artist were to come to me and say, I want to start doing these things too, I'd say, great. We have 2 artists instead of 1. Maybe start a whole damn force, That's the more we do it, the more it gets out there, whether it be people seeing my work and passing it on, or buying it, or painting their own in the same vein. The more it gets out there, the more people begin to see these things, hopefully there'll be some sort of a breakthrough in their head. Because there really is nothing new about what I'm saying, but most people don't think about it, and most people don't care, or might not care, but at least they don't think about it every day. And I want it to be out in front, Well, the best advice I can give a younger artist is to just do it. If you want to be an artist, just be an artist. Just do it. Just paint, draw, whatever works for you, whatever art vehicle you need to get your expressions, your creativity out of you and into something tangible. And don't listen to what other people say. Everybody's going to have opinions. People are going to say they like it, they hate it, and that's great. I always tell people I love it when I hear somebody say they hate my work. It just means they're looking at it, But don't read into that. If somebody tells you they don't like it, well, it's not. Everything is not for everybody. If it was for everybody and everybody likes it, that means you're not doing it right. You're not creating art if everybody likes it. So just don't listen to people. And if you take workshops, listen to what the workshop instructor says. You keep what they say that you like, and you throw away the rest. Don't be afraid to ignore what an instructor says, and don't be afraid and ignore what everybody says. You are the artist. What you bring out and sign means that this is what you approve of, and nobody can say anything against it.